Yo, what is going on, YouTube? I hope you're all doing wonderful and fantastic. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. I'm just testing out some streaming software because it's new, it's different. I don't know if it works or not. Ooh, my mic seems a little loud. So I just have some testing to do. So you guys are free to join and chat with me as much as you guys want. But I'm going to be playing around with things. So I'll be throwing some questions on the screen and stuff. Look, I got to try this out right now because we already got a question. Hold on, let's see. Pow. Do you know much about IT in the UK in the sense that CompTIA A+ isn't valued that much here? Yeah, I don't know too much about CompTIA certs worldwide. Now I've heard many times from people before in the past that, certifications hold different values based on, where you live in the world. So me being in the United States, I can generally only speak for what I know about here, what value certifications hold in the United States. I don't know, however, how much value they hold in other places of the world, specifically CompTIA. I could see where maybe Microsoft and Cisco certifications are definitely much more valued across the world. But again, I can't necessarily speak to the CompTIA. So I'm sorry. It's, the thing is about the CompTIA certifications, like they're still great fundamental certifications and they teach you a lot of great knowledge that you may not necessarily have, or helps lay down more of that foundation for you. So it's not necessarily going to hurt you. Maybe just that value isn't going to be there as much as it would be here in the United States, because I know like the United States, we hold a lot of value in the CompTIA certifications, specifically because or I guess more specifically because the Department of Defense, so like our U.S. government likes CompTIA certifications. Like CompTIA certifications are a requirement to work for some U.S. government agencies. So, there's that. CompTIA definitely has a good in there for sure. So, that's what's up. That's what's up. What's going on, IT career skills? How you doing, buddy? I got another question from Dom Hill. Is there a way to study for the A+ hands-on? Well, really the only part of the A+ that's hands-on would be like the 1002, right? Like part of it, like the second part of it, the core. So the chords, yeah, they changed all that. Now I forget because it's been so long since I talked about the A+ specifics. But it would be the second part of the A+. A plus 1002, I think it is. Yeah. A plus Core 2. Yeah, Core 2. That one has a little bit more hands-on. And there are, ways that you could practice for that for sure. You definitely just take a look at like the domain. So look up like CompTIA A plus Core 2 domain objectives. I could probably do that for you because I can be a nice guy sometimes. A plus Core 2 domain objectives. Let's see. Where are you at, CompTIA, with this? Don't tell me you have to fill something out. Of course, CompTIA would do that. Make you fill stuff out. Capture email address. Shocker. I don't think I can access the domain objectives via the web without registering. I know I have the objectives on my computer here somewhere. Oh, I guess that would lead to a perfect point or a perfect time to see about sharing my screen in this new program. So with that being said, let me find the Core 2 objectives because I know I just downloaded them because I was looking at something on there. And there's the 1001. Yo, you're gonna have to give me a minute because I have to pull this up. Got to find it, but I hope you're all doing well. This afternoon, somebody's in. They're in France. It's the afternoon in France. Gotcha. Might want to lower the camera when I pop questions. Else covers the lower third quarter of my face. That's a good idea. Yeah, I need to move the camera back some. Let's see, like my wall behind me. Like, I put everything up too high. I should have had it like lowered a little bit. I should have tested that out a little bit more, but we'll figure it out. Let me get signed in to this cloud service that I utilize so I can pull up these Core 2 objectives for you and try to share my screen because that would be pretty freaking cool if I could figure that out. What's up, ES? Oh, you're saying peace? Okay, peace. Oh, here you go. What do I think about the new CCNA? See, I just got to put my head up. I just got to have proper posture, and maybe it'd be all right. Maybe I can make this smaller even. That would be cool. Example banners. No. There's not a way to make that smaller? I have to look into that. Oh, maybe. Ah, there we go. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's so cute. Sorry. It's exciting figuring new stuff out. See all of the possibilities. All right, let me get into this. I'm almost there for your Core 2 objectives. CompTIA A+, Core 2. Put this in my downloads. All right. Let's see. Let's see about sharing my screen here. Sharing as these are two monitors, blah, blah, blah. I could probably get rid of that chat in a second here. Oh, that's kind of neat. I could just share a Chrome tab. That's even better. Oh, look at that. Why does it go to that screen? Interesting. There's a lot to figure out here. Oh, yeah. Look at that. All right, here's the A+. Let me get this chat off of the window. Here's the Core 2 exam objectives. So we want to take a look at the domains, so what the exam consists of. And we can see that 20% of the exam consists of operating systems, 24% of the exam consists of security, 26% of the exams consists of software troubleshooting, and 23% of the exam consists of operational procedures. Now we could drill down further into this document. And if you want to access this document, you could just look it up on the web. So you could do like a Google search for CompTIA A plus exam objectives, and then it's going to take you to a page where you actually have to register. So you have to submit your email or a bogus email or whatever, and then it'll let you download it. I don't think it emails it to you, but maybe it does. So maybe you do have to submit your regular email address. I don't know. It's been a minute, but you could download this, you can access this and read through it and kind of, pick apart what you think you need to focus on. But here, compare and contrast common operating system types and their purposes. So basically, here's 32-bit versus 64-bit. So you're going to compare, you might be asked a question about comparing 32-bit versus 64-bit. Software capability, RAM limitations. What's the RAM limitation on 32-bit? Is it like 16 gig or something? It's like ridiculously small. 8 gigs even? Shoot, I don't know. Who even uses 32-bit anymore? 32-bit's old and crusty. It's all about the 64-bit, yo. 64-bit supports all of the RAM. So, there's you might get a question about that. Like, what's the max RAM capacity size for a 32-bit operating system? Stuff like that. Those are the questions you'd get comparing that. Cell phone, tablet operating systems, Microsoft Windows, whatever, Android, iOS, Chrome OS. So you might get questions like comparing. I don't know specifics of the A plus, but let's say like compare like how you would navigate to like access your IP address versus Android and iOS. I don't know. Probably not a good example, but you will get asked questions. Essentially comparing what.
My apologies.
Oh.
I couldn't hear what you said.
Siri's like yelling at me now. You just might get questions like asking about specifics of each of these types of operating systems. That's all. Workstation operating systems, Microsoft Windows, Apple Macintosh OS, Linux. So who knows what kind of questions you would get there. I should really look further into this because this is kind of interesting. But maybe it's just comparing like how you look at your IP address on a Windows station versus like a Mac OS, like what are those, what's the command line for that? Could be a question. I don't know for certain. I would imagine it probably is because they are different and they are both good to know. They're very, very good to know. And for future reference, for Windows, it's IP config, and for Mac or Linux, it's IF config. If you didn't know that, now you know. Look at that. Vendor-specific limitations, end-of-life, update limitations. This definitely would focus highly on Windows, especially specifically like Windows 10 and above with updates and all that fun stuff. End-of-life, like Microsoft Windows 7 went end-of-life like last year. I think they finally end-of-lifed it. So you might have to know like specifics to those. Like, let's see. Windows Server 2012, I think, goes end of life. Shoot, I don't know, in like a year, maybe 2 years, something like that. Anyway, compare and contrast features of Microsoft Windows versions. Oh, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, Windows 10. What's the difference between Windows 8 and Windows 8.1? Anybody got that answer? Throw it in the chat if you think you got the answer. The difference between Windows 8 and Windows 8.1. What was the difference? They're both terrible operating systems. I hate them to death just as much as I hate Server 2012. All complete and utter garbage. I don't know why Microsoft ever did that, especially with Server 2012. What were you thinking, Microsoft? This is terrible. Terrible. You think I'm going to pull up like a freaking touchscreen to navigate your stupid Server 2012 operating system? No. Jerks. Anyway, tirades. Corporate versus personal needs, domain access, BitLocker, Media Center, branch cache in EFS, desktop style user interface. So again, comparing the different features of Windows operating systems and what they kind of offer. Now you asked about labbing, like specifics, how you can lab this stuff. I mean, you can spin up a virtual machine for every single operating system pretty much in existence. So if you really want to, quote unquote, lab this, like you could spin up a Windows 7, you could spin up a Windows 8 and a Windows 8.1 and Windows 10, and you could start looking into the differences and changes that they've made with those operating systems, right? You could like visually, especially if your computer can handle it, like have a Windows 7 machine up and a Windows 8 machine up, and like you could actually compare, the differences, not only in the GUI, but just, everything else that's changed functionality wise. So That's kind of a way that you could essentially lab this section of it just to have a good understanding. Here's desktop styles user interface. So that kind of goes back to comparing, because like Windows 7 versus Windows 8 versus Windows 8.1 versus Windows 10, like they all have different GUIs, and except for like 8 and 8.1 are very similar, except for one key thing, which was huge, and whatever. Microsoft. Summarize general OS installation considerations and upgrade methods. So you're going to get asked questions like, how would you upgrade an optical drive or external drive, or boot method? Sorry, you're going to summarize how a boot method could work. So are you going to go into the BIOS and you're going to change like the optical drive to be like the first boot? Are you going to change it so like the network boot is your first it's quote unquote drive or way that your computer boots? So like network boot, Pixie boot, you guys have to get very familiar with that, especially in corporate environments or any type of enterprise environment, large scale environments, where they do like a lot of imaging and stuff like that. So if they utilize something like Microsoft SCCM or Microsoft deployment toolkit, or even like stuff like Fog, Clonezilla, they all use Pixie Boot, where you're booting to the network. So essentially, in your BIOS, you can change the order in which your computer boots up, like what device it's utilizing to boot from. So typically, your computer boots from a hard drive. Your hard drive will typically always contain your operating system files. So you'll typically see in the BIOS that your hard drive is one of the first boot priorities, right? So your computer knows that anytime it boots up, it's going to go right to that hard drive to look for the files that it needs to continue kind of booting up, to continue that loading so it gets to the actual Windows operating system. Something with like Pixie Boot, if you select that first and you're running some type of imaging or deployment tool within your organization, if you go to Pixie Boot and you want to image the computer, there's a lot of things that happen kind of behind the scenes. But what the Pixie Boot does is it is searching for an IP address. It'll have an IP address with an open port within your organization. It finds that IP address, right? It says, oh, like this IP address is broadcasting, saying, hey, connect to me, connect to my IP address, because when you connect to my IP address, I am going to help you configure specific, like either configuring operating system or maybe there's other stuff configuring, but typically it's when you are Pixie booting, you're booting to like a deployment server, and that deployment server will contain like an image. And when you boot to that, what happens is the server that you're connecting to, that IP address, will start basically loading all of the files onto that computer. So when you Pixie boot, you boot to the network, your computer then connects to the server, and that server pushes down an image. It pushes down the operating system. I definitely didn't explain that the best, and I apologize. I would definitely love to do that in a better explanation, but this it wasn't like a scheduled thing. So anyway, the point is, right, like you just have to understand, like you can change your BIOS, the way that you boot, the way that you boot up will, determine blah, blah, blah. Like for instance, like there's like flash drive. You could have an operating system on your flash drive, right? And you might want to change your BIOS to boot to your flash drive so you can load your operating system from that flash drive. Whatever. Basic example. Anyway, the point is, like, you could go in your BIOS, you could change the boot methods, and you could try to look into that. You could visually see this. You could visually, kind of understand the different boot methods and how they work. Type of installations, unattended installations, in place upgrade, clean install, repair installation, blah, blah, blah. So you're summarizing maybe what an unattended installation could be. And that would be something maybe like SCCM or, group policy could be like an unattended installation, right? Like if you got to be familiar with like group policy and Active Directory and groups and all that fun stuff. But a lot of times, like with SCCM, Microsoft Deployment Toolkit, there's things like Spec Ops and things like that. In Active Directory, you can actually create groups for applications, and that gets tied into like Microsoft Deployment Toolkit or SCCM and those fun things, Spec Ops even, where you create a deployment, right? And that deployment could be like, say somebody needs like Microsoft Office installed on their computer. You could create like a group in Active Directory for Microsoft Office. And that group in Active Directory gets tied to your deployment server or deployment process, whether like spec ops, SE, like those things, right? And in that process, what happens is you're configuring Microsoft Office and Microsoft Office installation. So it all comes down from the server. You add a computer to this group for Microsoft Office. You reboot that computer. When it starts back up, it goes through like that process of like, looking for the domain, registering to the domain, making sure it's connected to your domain, authenticating and all that fun stuff. And then it looks for any change files or change logs. This is very rough, broad explanation, by the way. But it looks for it looks to see if there's anything, any requests, right? So your computer will look and see, oh, look, my computer now is added to this group and Active Directory for Microsoft Office. Let me grab these files. And then even before like you get logged in, like your computer's talking to the server and it's pulling down the Microsoft Office files and it's downloading and installing Microsoft Office for you. So that's kind of like an example of like an unattended installation because nobody has to do anything, right? Like you don't have to sit there. You just add a computer to a group. You don't have to physically like click through all the Microsoft Office screens. Next. Like you restart, you add the computer to the user group in Active Directory, restart it, and then it'll install Microsoft Office. Just again, a very, very rough example. And this is something that's something you could try out too. You could grab a flash drive. Here's file system formats, grab a flash drive and start formatting them to these different file types, like just a good way to see it, see what exFAT does, what's the difference between exFAT and FAT32 and NTFS, blah, blah, blah. Here, oh, look, here's quick format versus full format, right? Like these are all things that you can do on your own and kind of test out. Given a scenario, use appropriate Microsoft command line tools. Everything here in this section right here, like you could pull up your command prompt right this very second and start typing in some of this stuff and start figuring it out. IP config, ping, tracer, netstat, nslookup, all this stuff, right? Like, so if you want to start labbing it, that's what you got to do. So anyway, the point of this was like, there you go through and just see, are there things there that you could potentially lab? And yes, we've determined that yes, there are definitely things in the A+ Core 2 section that you can definitely turn into some type of lab scenario. Of course, there's things like practice labs and stuff. They have labs around A+ Core 2. So there's that. Anyway, ES, 4 GB because the addresses are limited. Yeah, we asked about the RAM for 32-bit versus 64-bit, and you got it, buddy. Windows on OS, no. 8 more optimized for touchscreens. 8.1 has more colors. Yeah. Don't mention Windows ME. What's wrong with you? If you like Windows 8, then maybe 8.1 makes it faster and better. The benefits include improved multitasking, multi-monitor support, better apps, and then universal search. 8.1 is garbage. And yes, 8.1 brought the start menu back. Like, what were they thinking? How could you remove the start menu? That is the worst thing in the whole entire world, not having the start menu. Stupid. Anyway. Tyler. Hi, Zach. Hello, Tyler. You're currently an IS systems analyst and would like to get into systems administration. Any recommendations and things to learn? Cloud, Active Directory, group policy, virtualization, like VMware, all those things. All those things. There's a lot of really great certifications that can help you get geared up for more systems administration for sure. But even now, like with systems administration, like I think it's important to start like a focus in an area that you can kind of specialize in, right? Like that, I think that always helps. While it's always good to like have a very broad understanding, like it's also very good to like at least have something that you can kind of focus into a little bit further. And so I think with specifically systems administration, cloud is going to be your best bet because that's typically the way things are moving, like that everything's going to the cloud. So learn like Azure, Active Directory and Azure everything, all the things Azure. Somebody, this person said, learn Active Directory, PowerShell, domain stuff. Yes. Sorry, my bad. What do I think about the new CCNA? I think the new CCNA is great. I mean, it's a Cisco certification. It's like gold. Is like literally like a piece of gold in your hands when you get that certification. Like no joke. Like it's still that good. Hi there from Portugal. Do you think sys network admin has future, or should you go take a programming course at college? You're planning to stay in U. I mean, yeah, those are sys admin, network admin. We're still always going to need those. Programming, of course, we will always need developers, like always, because nobody wants to do it because it's boring. No, not really. I mean, some people enjoy it. I don't. Best tip on passing CompTIA A+. Take all of the practice exams that you can find out on the internet until you're passing those at least like in 90% every single time. Practice exams. Professor Messer, like CapTech says. CapTech IT support. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you here. Best high paid certification about sysadmin in the long term. VMware has a really great certification. I forget what it's called, but yeah, some of those certs are really good. But then, of course, just anything Microsoft, honestly. What are some tip and pointers to pass A+? Well, yeah, so Professor Messer, like watch all his stuff because it's free and it's great. Was I still sharing that background? I should look. Hang on, sorry. Let me pull up a different screen here. Where's my other screen? There we go. Yeah, so tips and pointers, watch all the Professor Messer stuff, take all the practice exams that you can find. That's it. That's like the best pointers I can give you, man. Best tip for A+, get it scheduled. Holla. You seem sick. I hope I'm not. I've already had the COVID, so hopefully I don't have it again. I think I'm just coughing because I'm talking and it's the morning and I'm not used to talking this much in the morning. So anyway, I'm going to sit here and play around with this just a little bit more so that I can figure out how this stuff works. Because that's what the stream is all about. But I did want to acknowledge you guys, say hello to you, and all that fun stuff. I like that one. That one's fun. This one's like too big and bulky. That one's fun. It's got like animation to it. Oh, I can upload a logo, eh? Let's see what this looks like. What was my first job? Like my first IT job or my first like job? I'm pretty sure my first job, like it was McDonald's. My first job. It's like what, 15 or something? Wild. There is a delay here, huh? Is getting a job while in high school okay? For sure. Get a job, bro. Make all the money. I just want to try this out. It's got some stuff in here. Let's see. It says, ooh, to do calls to action, eh? Be sure to subscribe. Yay, look at that. Oh, this is so fancy. So is that all you get out of this? I guess this is fairly easy to use. Oh, and you can have overlays, which that's cool. Let's play with this real quick. Let's play with some overlays, yo. And try this. Oh, look at that. How do I move my camera though? Solo layout. Exit solo layout. No. See, it would be nice if I could move the camera around. How do I do that? I don't think I can. That I don't like not having that functionality. I need to move my camera. Huh. Interesting. Well, I don't like that I can't do that. I got to play with that more. So I'm trying to figure out if I can like move the display window around, or like this camera window around. It doesn't let me. And I don't like that. There you go. I'm trying out StreamYard to see if I like it. I like that I can like throw all this stuff on there and it's web based. Like that's pretty cool. But it is missing some functionality, which compared to like OBS and stuff, yeah. I really do like that I can pop these chats out. I wonder, I could probably utilize OBS to display everything and then use StreamYard to do all this other fancy stuff. Ooh, that's an interesting idea. Let's try that. I'm going to try that. All right, yeah. All right, hold on. I'm going to remove my camera right quick because I'm going to try something. I don't know if that's going to remove my microphone or not, but I will be right back. Oh, I figured it out. I don't know if I have audio now, though. Hold up. Let's see. Got it. Cool. So now the camera's going through OBS, and I can move this around. So now I can do some resizing, but that should be built into StreamYard, I feel like. All right. Cool. What's going on, Zachary Hopkins? How you doing, sir? Oh, I have an appointment coming up in 10 minutes, so that means I got to go. So I'm glad I got to play around with this a little bit. Thank you, everybody, for joining me for like this just randomness. If I didn't answer your questions, I'm sorry. I apologize. The stream was really just meant for me to kind of test out the software and make sure that it's working properly. But hey, guess what it is? So great. Perfect. I'll probably end up hopefully playing with this later because this is, yeah, there's things happening. Things are happening. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Keep learning. Keep doing amazing freaking things because, if you're not doing amazing things, then it sounds boring. Do some cool stuff. Like learn stuff. Always be learning. It's a great part of IT. You always get to learn really cool, fun stuff. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great, wonderful day and take it easy. Love you. Bye.